What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. What's cracking? Back with another reaction video from Scap Attack, who has this whole line running of spoofs of, The Last Dance, but he does the LeBron James Documentary Events called The Last Whatever. So I've already reacted to two of them before. You can check those out in our LeBron James video playlist. But this one is called The Last Choke. What did we do before? We did The Last Flop, and then we did The Last Excuse. The Last Excuse and Last Flop. But here's The Last Choke. Let's see how Scap Attack puts truth and context to these LeBron James narratives that people try to revise or conveniently forget the details. Scap so far has been 100%, and everything I've watched so far, there's been no lies. You can't call him out for lying, like you can call a lot of these other brownsexuals out for lying.
On June 26, 2003, David Stern stepped to a podium at the theater at Madison Square Garden and made an announcement that would forever change the fabric of NBA history.
The Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James.
And for nearly 20 years since that fateful day, LeBron James has been delivering a non-stop assault on the NBA. From ushering in the era of the super team and destroying the competitive balance of the sport, to elevating the flopping game to unparalleled heights, while begging officials to bail him out in series after heart-pounding playoff series. Perhaps the biggest staple of this all-time great's legendary career has been his ability to come up the smallest when the lights were at their brightest. And as is so often the case with most immortals, we are left almost in sheer disbelief, wondering if what we just saw really even happened. But following his most recent and predictable high-profile choke job in the Western Conference Finals against the Denver Nuggets, it was this time LeBron's turn to step to a podium and wonder if after 20 years of delighting us with his hilarious failures, this might have been it.
I had a lot to think about, to be honest, and just for me personally, going forward with the game of basketball, got a lot to think about.
The end of the ride, his final show, The Last Choke.
I put out a video back when he made that comment, basically telling people, don't believe that. This is typical LeBron James BS. Making crap up, trying to give the media stuff, trying to deflect attention. Just type of things he does. Don't feed into it, man. Don't be gullible.
Certainly has been prolific and dazzling with his abilities to crumble in big moments, and it started at a very early age and stage of his NBA career, when in the 2006-2007 season, LeBron, in just his fourth NBA season, would make his first of 10 NBA Finals appearances, and he would not disappoint. Many pundits in the mass media and his fan base often give him a pass for this loss because of his relative age and supporting cast, but many downplay how close this series actually was. The Cavs' defense was fantastic that season and postseason, and it held the Spurs to...
I'm going to pause. So one thing I've always said about this series is that I felt like the Cavaliers had no business there anyway. I did get the Detroit teams mixed up, but I still think Detroit was the better team. But I guess I was wrong, whatever the case may be. Or stupid for not. Anyway. But this is true about that series versus the Spurs. It wasn't like, what they always say, it's his teammates. It's not enough help. No. His teammates stepped up far more than LeBron James stepped up in that finals. In fact, Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Drew Gooden actually defended Tim Duncan. They took Tim Duncan out the series. Remember, Tim Duncan didn't get the MVP. It was Tony Parker. They did an excellent job on Tim Duncan in that finals.
Just 86 points per game on 44% shooting from the field throughout the series. And 2 of these games were a 1-possession margin. Yet the Cavaliers would ultimately be swept in this series behind the young king, averaging just 22 points per game in the 4-game sweep on 35% shooting. But 2 years later, in the 2008-2009 season, LeBron would be named MVP of the league for the first time in his career, while leading the Cleveland Cavaliers to the best record in the NBA, a gaudy 66-16 record. They steamrolled through the first 2 rounds of the NBA playoffs, sweeping the Detroit Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks. A high-profile showdown between the actual best player in the NBA at that time, Kobe Bryant, and the media's king, LeBron James, seemed to be all but imminent. The only thing standing in MVP LeBron's path was an Orlando Magic team led by 23-year-old Dwight Howard. Of course, we all know how that ended up, with Kobe Bryant winning his 4th title after beating the Orlando Magic 4-1 in those finals. But LeBron would return next year in the 2009-2010 season, looking for vengeance, and he would defend his regular season MVP award, again leading the Cleveland Cavaliers to the best record in the NBA. And after a gentleman's sweep of the Bulls in the first round, he would come up against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and the Cavs found themselves in a dogfight, tied 2-2 in that series and facing a pivotal swing Game 5 at home when LeBron straight up quit in this game, playing 41 minutes and scoring just 15 points on 3 of 14 shooting as the Cavs got absolutely dismantled on their home court, pushing them to the brink of elimination in Game 6. And of course, we all know how that one ended too, with Kobe Bryant winning his 5th title after beating the Celtics in 7. But this series broke LeBron.
Now, let's be honest. We all know the campaign running those last 2 seasons in Cleveland. People act like the Cavaliers weren't a good team. The Cavaliers were a good team. They were favorited to make it to the finals in their conference, and in some people's eyes, favorited to win it all. LeBron did not show up. We had the Nike commercials running, Kobe versus LeBron Nike commercials. We all thought it was inevitable. And Kobe had to take care of LeBron James's trash that he couldn't finish off in the Orlando Magic and the Boston Celtics. Kobe said, let me take care of that for you, since you can't meet me at the mountaintop. I'm disappointed because I wanted to see the Kobe versus LeBron final showdown. I'm disappointed that they lost to the Magic and they lost to the Boston Celtics. It kills me how these LeBron James fans, or these revisionist history people, always, oh, he didn't have enough help, he didn't have enough help. Dude, those Cavs teams were elite. And then as they were winning all these games in 2008, 2009, and 2009, 2010, as they're winning all these games, that wasn't the narrative from LeBron fans and Cavalier fans. It was, they've done a great job surrounding LeBron James with talent this year. Look at Mo Williams. He's an all-star. He's lighting it up. He's shooting threes. Oh, great role players. Boobie Gibson. Anderson Varejao. I think Big Z was still on those teams. Hell, they even had, didn't they get Ben Wallace and maybe Antoine Jameson? Something like that. I can't remember exactly. But that was not the narrative. The narrative was this was a great Cavaliers team, a great defensive team, and they surrounded LeBron with shooters of the mid-range and a three-point variety. And this team was going to get it done. But after you lose, then all of a sudden, they throw that all out. No, never mind. The team was crap. He didn't have enough help after all. No, we don't play that game.
LeBron James, and in turn, he would go on to break the NBA. A then back-to-back league MVP, being falsely touted by many as the best player in the NBA, would decide to get on his hands and knees and crawl his ass to Dwayne Wade's team.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Two top 5 players in the sport joining forces in their prime in a weakened conference, who then recruited Chris Bosh. Bosh, at the time, of course, had played 7 years in Toronto and made 6 All-Star appearances over that time and had a career average of 20 points and 10 rebounds per game.
I'm glad you bring that up, because a lot of people try to act like Bosh. Now the narrative going around is that Miami Heat team wasn't a super team, and that Cavaliers team, his second stint, wasn't a super team. That's the narrative they're trying to push out now. I'm like, are you kidding me? See, the Chris Bosh disrespect is crazy. Chris Bosh was at worst, at the time, a top 15 player. At worst. So you had 2 top 5s and a top 15. All in their relative prime. Wade might have just been coming around the corner, but he was still elite. And generally speaking, all 3 of those guys were really young coming together. That was the really big difference, was how young these guys were. It ain't like they was 34, 35. Like you see a lot more often. Nah.
That team was so unfairly stacked, so unbeatable. A then ringless king felt so confident he would proclaim that he and the Heat would win not just a championship, but
not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
What would ensue the following year in the 2011 NBA Finals was a tour de force of choking. LeBron's magnum opus choke job, his grand masterpiece. The Heat rolled through the Eastern Conference with a 12-3 record and had a 2-1 lead in the NBA Finals against a severely undermanned Dallas Mavericks team with only 1 All-Star, looking to take a stranglehold in the finals and move just 1 step away from capturing his first NBA title. LeBron took a hot, steamy dump in his pants, playing 45 minutes and scoring just 8 points on 3 for 11 shooting, including 0 points in the fourth quarter of a game that was 82-81 with 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. From on the doorstep of taking a decisive 3-1 series lead to not winning another game the rest of the way, the Heat would go on to lose that series 4-2, and LeBron was the 3rd leading scorer on his own team and 5th leading scorer in the series. A reigning back-to-back 2-time league MVP in his 8th season got outscored and outshot by 33-year-old Jason Terry in this series. As bad as the 17 points per game for the series may look, it pales in comparison to how pathetic he was in the fourth quarter, scoring just 18 points total in the 6 fourth quarters of the series. But even that doesn't seem so bad when you dig deeper into his clutch time play throughout this series, meaning in the final 5 minutes of games within 5 points or less. In these such situations, LeBron scored exactly 0 points.
0.0.
After finally breaking through the championship glass ceiling the next 2 seasons with his unbeatable super teams, 2 years later, LeBron would be up to his old tricks again, back in the NBA Finals and getting humiliated, blown off of the court by the San Antonio Spurs in 5 games, signaling the end of LeBron's tenure in Miami, only 5 championships short of his prediction. It was off to bigger and better things, back in Cleveland with a shiny new super team to try to ring stack with. Everything was going according to form as the self-proclaimed king hit the game-winning, series-clinching shot in Game 7 against the Warriors.
No, they didn't.
Well, no, he didn't. That was Kyrie Irving. But LeBron did finally get his 3rd ring, and it was all for Cleveland.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Well, no, it wasn't.
That one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
But it seemed like the championship window was wide open for LeBron with his latest super team until Kevin Durant and Steph Curry slammed it shut using the same playbook the NBA destroying Kings scripted years earlier. And thus, it was time to find something else. And
I've always said that. I was like, I don't when KD joined the Warriors, I was like, LeBron, you've created this. You have created this. You've created your worst monster now. Now you have to deal with it.
And he found it in LA. Well, actually, it was more like in Orlando, where he managed to win the flukiest ring in NBA history in the Disney bubble, behind Anthony Davis, who led the NBA playoffs that year in points scored and played masterful defense. And it looked like in year 20, at the age of 38, it was all coming together one final time, one more magical garbage championship for the King, as they went all the way from out of the playoffs with less than 2 weeks remaining in the regular season to steamrolling their way into the Western Conference Finals behind Anthony Davis and a myriad of big contributions from a number of Lakers role players. The Lakers had everything they could possibly ask for in this series, with Anthony Davis playing elite, league-best type defense while averaging 27 points and 14 rebounds per game. Austin Reeves contributing 21 points per game on 55% shooting, and Rui Hachimura coming off the bench to add great defense of his own, along with 15 points per game on 53% shooting. The Lakers were squarely within every game in this series, as all 4 games were within one possession late in the fourth quarter, with LeBron, ball in hand, at multiple moments throughout the series, clanking the game-tying 3 with 45 seconds left in Game 1, blowing this layup that would have made it a 2-point game with 30 seconds left in Game 2, and this hilarious travel that of course went uncalled, followed by an epic brick that didn't even touch the rim that could have tied Game 4 with just under 30 seconds left in the game. But with only 4 seconds left and the Lakers down by 2, LeBron got one more opportunity to extend the game and the series. He would not disappoint.
James on the drive, goes inside, stop, shot block, gets it back. It's over. It's over.
Overall for the series, LeBron shot 7 of 23 for just 30% in the fourth quarters, where every quarter was close. And the overall net margin of differential was only 24 points for the Nuggets. If only the Lakers had a viable option in clutch time. With the future all of a sudden uncertain, it remains to be seen if this is truly the last moment we will see of LeBron on an NBA court, or if possibly he will recruit another Hall of Famer or two to amass yet another super team this offseason. But if this was truly the last time we see LeBron, he went out doing what he does best and delighting us all one final time.
Another masterpiece, brilliantly done by Scap Attack. Sorry, I felt the need to pause it and interject just because I knew there were points I was going to forget to talk about if I waited to the end of the video. And sometimes I have a little notepad here and I'll jot it down so that I can remember to talk about it so I don't interject and stop the video as much. But I had to interject and I didn't have my writing tools available to me, so be it. But yeah, I mean, you can't even call this guy out for lying. Everything he said is completely true. Everything. But yeah, man, that revisionist history blows my mind, bro. Blows my mind. People are really trying to say that wasn't no super team. Crazy to me. Crazy. And of those runs, and like he said, when they created that super team, you had 3 good teams, right? Good to great teams, right? I can't remember what the Miami Heat were doing at that time, record-wise. Not even sure if they were a playoff team at the time or not with Wade. I'd have to go back and look. But either way, you had two good teams in Toronto and the Cavaliers. And by all those guys joining together, not only did you stack the deck with your team now in Miami, but you completely eliminated two good to great teams from contention. And it was lopsided. It was lopsided, man. And the Celtics big three were out of their prime at that point. And they still had a great team and I think Doc Rivers is a very overrated coach, to be honest, but he did a good job coaching that Celtics team, all things considered. But they had good team basketball fundamentals and great chemistry, which allowed them to still be in contention. But as far as the star power of Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, these guys were out of their prime when they were going toe for toe against that Miami team at which point. But, I mean, they still made one of those, I can't remember how many times they played them in that run, but I know at least one time they went 7 games, and Boston was up 3-2, and LeBron James went berserk in Game 6. But it is what it is. Whew, I swear, sometimes I forget more basketball than some people will ever know. Sometimes there's little patches of cloudiness where my memory tends to evade me from time to time. But I get most of the picture. Yeah. And Anthony Davis, I can't stand Anthony Davis. And the numbers are what they are, but the thing about Anthony Davis is his numbers could be so much better than what they are. The dude is just so sporadic, so inconsistent, in and out mentally, in and out physically, man. I can't stand AD. I can't stand AD. The only thing I really disagree with, and I might be on an island with this, is even in the bubble, statistically, Anthony Davis, like they said, most people say should have won MVP when you actually look at offense and defensive ratings and all that stuff. And they said AD should have won MVP, but I'll say I think LeBron should have got MVP just because I know that Anthony Davis doesn't really play like that and can't play like that if it wasn't for the comfort of playing with LeBron James. He really benefits from that. I feel like I've seen this guy play when it's really on his shoulders and he doesn't have the comfort, right? And he doesn't deliver like that. He doesn't. And he's not impactful like that. He's not. Definitely not consistently. Like, I felt like his production, LeBron James' presence had a lot to do with his confidence and his production. I will stand by that. Can't stand Anthony Davis, man. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Scap Attack, another brilliant product you put out here. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. Check out our LeBron James playlist to see more Scap Attack videos. And I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.